Mrs. Watson was a doctor's wife. She had a nice neighbour, Mrs. Potts. They often did each other's shopping. One day, Mrs. Potts had to go to Dr. Watson because she was ill. So Mrs. Watson said, "I'll do your shopping today, Beryl." Mrs. Potts told her that she only wanted a sheep's kidney. Mrs. Watson went to the shops, and when she came back, she went to Mrs. Potts' house. But she was not there. So she went to her own house. She looked in her husband's waiting room, but Mrs. Potts was not there either. So she went into her husband's office. Her husband told her that Mrs. Potts had just left him and gone to the lavatory. Mrs. Watson ran out into the crowded waiting room just in time to catch Mrs. Potts. She shouted, "Here's your kidney," and ran and gave her the parcel.
Exercise A. Which of these sentences are true and which are false? Write T or F in the boxes. Number 1.
Mrs. Potts lived near Mrs. Watson.
Number 2.
Mrs. Watson was ill.
Number 3.
Mrs. Watson did Mrs. Potts' shopping.
Number 4.
During this time, Mrs. Potts went to the lavatory and then to Dr. Watson's office.
Number 5.
Mrs. Watson stopped Mrs. Potts as she was leaving.
Number 6.
Dr. Watson had cut Mrs. Potts' kidney out.
Exercise B. Now answer these questions. Number 1.
What work did Mrs. Watson's husband do?
Number 2.
Who was Mrs. Potts?
Number 3.
How did she and Mrs. Watson help each other?
Number 4.
Why did Mrs. Watson offer to do Mrs. Potts' shopping one day?
Number 5.
What did Mrs. Potts ask her to get?
Number 6.
Where did Mrs. Watson look for Mrs. Potts when she came back?
Number 7.
Where was Mrs. Potts?
Number 8.
What did Mrs. Watson shout to her when she found her at last?